Here in this vlog, I'd like to do some self-forgiveness for the point of attention from the perspective that I accept and allow myself to form and create reactions within myself. Both positive reactions and negative reactions within myself. And accumulate those reactions to the point that they become obvious within and as the physical reality within it through my behavior. And so I accept and allow myself to allow my behavior to change on an obvious level. And so with that, I form and create the point of attention from the perspective of me needing to have a look at, investigate what it is within myself that I am accepting and allowing myself to become subjugated to as a particular reaction of an emotion or a feeling. And so basically, to break this down just a little bit more in case you haven't listened to the first video about attention, every subtle reaction is in fact a point wherein I as self will need to investigate the point of instability. And so therefore, with that being said, when and as those small, minute points become accumulated within myself, my behavior changes on an obvious level, meaning that other individuals within my world and reality is able to see the behavioral changes caused by points within myself as particular thoughts, imaginations, and internal dialogue that I accept and allow myself to become subjugated to, or subject to, or possessed by. And so here in this vlog, I am doing self-forgiveness as a point of declaring to myself, hey, I'm going to release this self. I'm going to release myself, not this self. I'm going to release myself from accepting and allowing myself to be subjugated to this or these points, and take responsibility to move myself back into a stability within my world and reality. So here we go with this whole forgiveness. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to participate in the design of and as the fear of survival through and as movement. Okay, let me explain this point for a moment. I forgive myself, meaning I release myself from accepting and allowing myself to participate in the design of and as the fear of survival, meaning that I am participating in a design, in a platform that I created as a particular foundation within myself that I use to create responses as reactions and behaviors as consequential outflows of particular thoughts, imaginations, memories, and internal dialogue within myself. So there's a platform, there's a design that I use that is in fact based on the fear of survival. The fear of survival meaning that without that platform, without that design, that I will become unstable within my world and reality, because I will not know who I am as a stability point within my world. And so as movement, meaning that we have five senses: sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. And also we do have a sixth sense. It's not a psychic sense, it's basically being aware of the movements within oneself as the particular energetic movements. And so the design of and as the fear of survival through and as movement, meaning that I am participating primarily within movement as energy, experience, as emotions and feelings, all the same thing. So I forgive myself that, with this being said, I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to fear. What am I fearing within this? Fearing to not create or have or exist within energy experiences, within positive energy and negative energy experiences. And so with this fear, I create and generate positive and negative energy experiences, which becomes my experiences within this world and reality. So I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to doubt whether I am the one that stands stable within my world and reality. And so within me doubting my stability point, I create movements within myself as emotions and feelings that I use to define myself within this world, to create the illusion of a stability that I began to define and fortify within my world through energy and energy experiences. I forgive myself within this. I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to blame the physical world reality for existing and creating form, which is shape, structure, that I use to create, perpetuate, and exist within and as energy experiences through and as movement, utilizing the sense of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, all of the faculties of my physical body that I use to formulate an imagination of something or someone, depending, it doesn't matter if it's a visual imagination or an imagination that is constructed as a smell or constructed as an audible voice within one mind as a particular back chat. All of these are dimensions of imagination. Back chat, or in other words, internal dialogue, is that manifestation of declaration within oneself that one is in fact trying to solidify an imagination within oneself. And so I use and I blame the physical for creating and existing within it as structure, and use the structure to form and create imaginations within myself through my five senses. And so with my five senses, I become possessed. And so I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to make the excuse that I have to survive as this personality, that I have to survive as the personality. And thus, with that, I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to justify me not taking self-responsibility for myself within and through self-forgiveness, where I become demonized by and through my own mind, utilizing the physical to feed off of like a vampire, to create and structuralize my integrity as a personality, as an individual, individual in this world, individual, creating division within myself that I value as the definition of who I am within this world. And so therefore, with this being said, I commit myself. What am I going to commit myself to? Instead of creating and fortifying thoughts, imaginations, and back chats with which are internal dialogues within myself, I instead commit myself to, instead of fortifying energy and movements within myself that becomes and outflows as particular behaviors. Instead of allowing my mind to calibrate my behaviors into specified personalities or behaviors, it is to instead have a look at what it is that I am giving attention to within myself. What is it that I am giving attention to within myself? And I thus take that point that I am giving attention to, because that point which I am giving attention to, I've formed and created an energy to it as a particular word. And so thus I am not living that word self-honestly. I am living that word based on an energy or a movement. So I take that word that I formed and created and manifested into and as a behavior of an emotion or a feeling. I take that word and I redefine it through first clearing the word, having a look at the connections, the both positive and negative connections that creates the integrity of how I utilize that word within my world and reality. And I thus take back myself, take back from the perspective that I stand as the directive principle. I bring myself back here, basically, is what I am saying here. I bring myself back here into the physical to be able to see directly what it is that I am accepting and allowing. In other words, the word that I am separate from, I take that word, and instead of participating in that word, I take that word and I see how I am living that word in this world in reality. I see the points that I am existing as that word. In other words, I decode myself. And when and as I decode myself, when and as I am able to see what it is that I am participating in, I clear that word. I purify that word from the through living that word in such a way that that word becomes a word that is in fact supportive. How can I utilize that word to support myself within this world and reality? And not only myself, how can this word be lived in such a way that this word is in fact a best for all living expression or principle that we're able to utilize within this world to and towards change and real evolution, not evolution within the mind as movement, as energy, but the evolution as within it as stability and structure and principle. Thank you.